Well, welcome to today's rant. Still wrestling with these lights I have in here, and while waiting for people to check in, I'd much rather be doing these outside, but it is raining. And but thank God the cold is gone, the serious cold. We've been having like 60-degree weather days now, and that's pretty typical for Charlotte this time of year, and it's great. But now I want to speak today on the trajectory of the times, and I think that's important for us to see the trends, to understand where we are and where we're going. And a lot of that is, of course, subject to factors that would change the trajectory a little bit here and there. But there's some things that are trends now that are pretty much going to be set for the at least immediate future, I think. One thing is we're experiencing an incredible economic boom in America. I think there are many other countries that are doing the same, if not much of the world right now. And saw the confidence in the economy broke an all-time record yesterday, that in a recent poll released higher than it's ever been. The incredible thing about that poll is how many people thought it was due to Obama's policies, which is, you cannot know one thing about the economy, even basic things, if you believe that. I mean, the whole Obama administration had shackles on our economy. It's like doing things to purposely slow it down. And he did some things well. He did a few things, but in general, it was terrible. But, the moment Trump was elected, just the hope of a business-friendly environment in the United States sent our stock market soaring. It sent companies hiring people. It had many companies saying they're going to move here, they're going to build plants here. America is the best place in the world to do business if, under certain conditions. It had become a very anti-business environment under President Obama. And, after the debacle of 2008, the subprime crisis and the collapse then, there was just a serious overreaction. But now I think we're back on track. I think a lot of the problems that resulted in the 2008 crash have been resolved, I think. But there is a new optimism in business. There is no question about it. And that's a basic barometer of the way people feel. The stock market is a valuation. It is what the world values American business at. And with it being up as high as it is, about $7 trillion since Trump has taken office, it's like an almost unprecedented optimism in American business. And there are a lot of good signs for that. But so I think that's going to continue. I think pro-business policy, pro-business, I think legislation such as the tax reform that was just passed and the reduction of taxes going to have huge impact in the future. There's room for more reduction in taxes, and I think America and the world is looking at that. Man, let's go back and do business in America again. But so we have that going for us. People still, Trump's approval rating is reaching pretty much a high for him, too. It's below 50%. And as I've said for years, I think such a cynicism has set in towards politics and politicians that may be a high water mark for any politician, any president going forward. And Republicans are ticked off at their own party, which feel like they haven't done anything. They didn't keep their promises. Trump has tried to keep his promises, tried hard, and that's being appreciated. But he didn't have a lot of help from the Republican establishment. Of course, there were a lot of Republican congressmen and senators that were doing their best to help. And but there's a cynicism towards politics in general. We see all the corruption, we see the injustice, we see the things that they're able to get away with, such as Hillary Clinton, that other people doing far less are in prison for long prison terms. And like there's, it takes righteousness and justice are the foundation of the Lord's throne, and it's the foundation of any sustainable government for long term. You've got to have righteousness, you got to do things right with integrity, and you got to have justice for all. But these things are being hammered out. But I shared my last rant about how love is the foundation for spiritual authority. Jesus, when he felt compassion for the sheep without a shepherd, he became their shepherd. When he felt compassion for those who were in darkness, he became their teacher. And that's true. And I think in our education system, through our education system, and I think especially the history books that are being used in public schools today, they are horrendous. I mean, I can't imagine anything more offensive that virtually any American would not be deeply offended at. They trash our heroes. They say nothing good about them. They trash some of our greatest leaders in history. They say almost nothing good about America. And they're making our young, emerging generation hate their country. Now, the effect of that is these will not have any influence or authority with their country. Now, a real authority, if you know somebody hates you, does not like you at all, are you going to listen to them? Are you going to pay much attention to what they say? You know how biased it is. And that's why when immigrants who come over here from other countries start trashing our country that has shown them hospitality, help, giving them benefits and all that, that is twice as offensive. And you want them to still honor their own home countries and all that. That's a good thing to do. We honor our fathers and mothers. That is so critical. But when they start trashing our country, that's wrong, but they're losing authority. They'll never have real authority here. And that's why we have to be careful of letting that cynicism and letting that even hatred or disdain for our country, for our cities, for our states. It doesn't mean we cover up what's wrong with them or what they've done wrong, but we address the wrongs in a redemptive purpose with a redemptive attitude. That's what we've got to do. And we start showing that, and people know you care. What's the saying? I don't care how much you know unless I know how much you care. And so that's something we really need to remember. Let's esteem our towns, our cities, our states, our country, people, other people groups. We cannot have authority with them if it's not founded on love for them. That's why one of the reasons I think the Lord said, love your enemies even. You start loving your enemies, praying for them, you start having an investment in them, then God can give you things that are not biased that can help them out. The goal being they're not being enemies anymore. But anyway, just wanted to continue that. But, and I just finished a book it's called A Prophetic History. It's a major expansion of a work I'd done many years ago. And, during the years 1987 until 1991, that 4-year period, the world changed more geopolitically than it in any other 4-year period in history. That's what historians, and it did. I mean, this is when the Iron Curtain comes down, and I mean, just the whole world changed during that 4 years. Well, people don't realize how much the spiritual trajectory of the world changed during that time too. There was a major shift in the direction things have gone since then and are going since then. So I wrote this history based on that, and watching the change, watching this everything turn in a direction towards a whole new direction. And we've had hiccups, we've had speed bumps, we've had distractions, all kinds of things since then. But in 1987 was, some of the biggest scandals in Christianity, but also some of the, I think, greatest moves of God since the first century started to emerge. And they've been emerging, they've been growing, they've been having a major impact on Christianity around the world. We need to see that. But so, I'm trying to paint kind of a big picture now so that we can get down to and discuss some of the more detailed things going on. But just, I don't know if you noticed, Oprah, for example, and this is highlighting the cynicism of the time, that is also a major factor. She gives a speech at the Golden Globe Awards. I didn't hear it, didn't know, but it was obviously she was speaking out against the sexual harassment. I think a good thing to do, no doubt. You cannot believe, it's hard to believe what rose up on the internet and people attacking her, even accusing her of being an enabler of all that sexual harassment. She was a close friend of Harvey Weinstein, and now the onslaught on her. And then, I don't know if she's guilty or innocent of that. I really don't know. Then her home near Santa Barbara gets washed away. I'm not sure if it's totally destroyed, but absolutely devastated in one of those mudslides. It seems like that was a indication in the natural of things that are the way she's getting mud thrown at her in the, in our current events now, in the current times. Everybody's attacking. Now, Oprah's been one of the most loved and respected people in our culture. Do you realize Donald Trump was until he announced for president? Everybody liked him. Democrats, Republicans, there was almost nothing. As soon as he announces he's going to run for president, it was unbelievable, the onslaught against this man and how much he became hated overnight. Could that actually happen to Oprah? I think it very definitely would happen to Oprah. Because there was, I think a lot of the outrage and stuff coming against her right now is just the mention of some that she would be a presidential candidate in 2020. And, but those are the days we live in. I think if you get into politics in these times at all, you got to be ready for that kind of onslaught. You've got to be ready to be dragged through the mud, every evil thing, you being accused of every evil thing, and everybody in the world trying to find anything they can against you to attack you with. That's the nature. Didn't they do that to Jesus? I can't find a single thing that Jesus said or did in Scripture, in the Gospels, that he was not attacked for, not accused for something. But it's worth it. It's worth the fight. If you're supposed to be in the fight, we've got to learn to take that. I think Trump is more and more learning. And, I was on a phone call a couple of days ago with, close associates of his, and they have 21 pages of things that Trump has accomplished in his first year, and it's unbelievable. Hardly any of it has been acknowledged by the country. This guy is doing incredible things. He will get credit for all those things, like he should get credit for the present economy. Anyone who really understands the economy knows this is all about Trump and his policies, taking the shackles off, reducing regulation, cutting taxes, and he's making America a major business-friendly place again. And so we have all these things we're juggling. The world is changing, and changing fast. The Lord wants his people to be light and salt in the midst of it. That means his people should have answers to some of the world's ultimate problems, to be the light of the world, shine in darkness, and the salt that helps preserve and helps to flavor, what is happening. So we need to know what's happening. We need to be engaged in it and helping to steer things. But we've got to have a strong mooring to what is righteousness and what is justice according to God's definitions. So we'll be elaborating on those and some other things. I think it's time to pray for Oprah. Praying for her. She is really going through it right now, and may God touch her during this time. May it be used for good and draw her to the Lord and to salvation and everything else. And when others are coming under attack like that, we need to pray for them, P-R-A-Y, instead of pray on them, P-R-E-Y. And pray for God's mercy and intervention during those times. Even if she's guilty of all the stuff she's being accused of actually enabling the sexual harassment or being an enabler, that's not beyond the power of the cross to forgive and to heal. So I'm praying for her, and I hope that you will too. And anybody else, pray for our president. He's under an unprecedented assault and accusations and things that are just absolutely crazy. And he's getting on with it better and better, where he's just accepting this comes with the territory and just doing his job. So, but keep praying for him. He needs it, all the people in his administration, his family, and everyone else. Thank you for doing that. God bless you today. May you be drawn closer to the Lord and your purpose today.